Everyone's got their favorite long-running anime, whether they still watch it or used to watch it. No matter how frustrating its unending plot threads and constant filler may have been, you loved it because at least at one point or another, it paid off its long arcs of build-up with some undeniably great moments that made you stick around. For me, my favorite unending peripal of Japanese animation has to be Detective Conan, known as Case Closed in English-speaking territories. The story of a hotshot teen detective turned into a kid by the mafia. Okay, it's good, just stay with me. The story of a hotshot detective turned into a kid by the mafia through a mysterious drug who solves grisly crimes without anybody knowing he's the one cracking the cases as he endeavors to find those responsible for his transformation and figure out a way to revert back. Spoilers, it's still ongoing about 25 years later. Like any good mystery show, it presented us with puzzling enigmas for the viewer to piece together themselves each episode, while fun, memorable characters kept us coming back to see how they'd handle each sitch. Anyway, we're all gamers here, so what's a gamer supposed to do with just a show? Dragon Ball and Naruto hardcore fans have countless titles to dig into and indulge in fan service with. Conan has loads of games, but as it never really became that popular over in English-speaking countries, all of them have remained unlocalized. Oh, except one. A game that of course I had to cover because it's another adventure puzzle game released outside of Japan only in Europe. And it's the Wii game, Case Closed, The Mirapolis Investigation. You guys ready to crack it? Let's go. Okay, yeah. Let's not get too excited because it's actually what you'd probably expect. Woohoo! So if on the one side of the spectrum we have a venerated studio known for their original work picking up a smaller anime with more average popularity and making an artsy, stylized action game with Blood Plus, on the other hand we have here another, when it existed, creator of original niche works, phoning it in and making a bland, flat-looking, cheap cash-in of one of Japan's biggest anime of all time, because that's probably all that needed to be done to make a few bucks off this license. Unfortunately for me, I don't get to play the cool-looking Bandai Conan game with advanced features such as lip movement. This PS2 one's got some, actual animation and starts all whoa! There's not really a way for me to play a detective game in Japanese without being able to speak the language. Unless I just played the entire game step by step with a walkthrough next to me, and that's not much fun. So I'm stuck up here in the Mirapolis Hotel. What's immediately striking about Mirapolis is how it doesn't really care to establish what the premise of this entire franchise even is, for anybody not already in the know. The usual Conan gang shows up to the inauguration of a new hotel/resort thing, and that's all you really get told. Without prior Conan knowledge, you'd have no idea, well, first off, who anybody is, and especially why the main character's inner monologue is that of an adult.
Whoa, a walkway on the bottom of the lake!
An invitation letter addressed to Mr. Moore was sent from Mirapolis' owner.
Or come to think of it, the fact that another character has his same issue of being an adult in a child's body. I suppose this makes sense for a Japan release. I guess there, the premise of Detective Conan is probably as ubiquitous as the premise of, Doctor Who or something here. Geez, I feel like I need to handle this game with mittens on or something. It's in such need of anti-aliasing, all these jaggies. Don't hold this game while running. One interesting thing about this game is the fact that the original English dubcast came back for it. Even though the localization came out in 2009 and the show's dub hadn't aired since 2004. Only 50 of the now, 957 plus episodes having been dubbed. I haven't watched the English dub, but I'll just let you know that I'm not up to date either, guys. Though they were still dubbing a few of the movies at the time, so I guess that's why the cast would still be around. The anime dub was the kind of dub that changed everyone's names to be more English sounding, where we're clearly in Japan, but everyone's names make it sound like they're the cast of an original Canadian kids TV show. Anyway, the game remains faithful to the show with its soundtrack, which I think is pretty much nearly 100% lifted from it. Not sure whether to praise that or to think it's super lazy. Because the point is, this isn't trying to be some awesome standalone take on the Conan IP that uses the medium of gaming to craft a classic work that stands on its own in a vacuum regardless of the license. So it's not going to have iconic bangers or stylized presentation to call its own, and Damn, when I think of what that would look like for Conan, a Detective Conan game made by Suda51 or someone, all noir, would actually be pretty dope, wouldn't it? Either way, this game is barely 5 hours long, and I promise you, you'll be sick of the Detective Conan theme by the end of it. Oh yeah, and by the way, there's a murder at the hotel because Conan can't pop into Tesco for milk and a lottery ticket without one of those happening. He buys a 10p carrier bag that by coincidence turns out to have been the murder weapon or something. Oh well, here we go again. So what we have with Mirapolis is a self-contained filler episode that you play. No surprises there. Big Dog Mr. Chase has opened up his park to the masses, but a mysterious lady ends up dead, but Conan's on the case. This is a resort though, so if you want, you can go play some really awful minigames. Japan always managing to make arcades look like casinos. You know, people like to talk about how waggle controls were really annoying on the Wii. Well, guess what? You don't get to complain until you've played the worst one-on-one fighter of all time in Case Closed, the Mirapolis Investigation. This makes Wii boxing look like Tekken. Also, I assume you've noticed by now that this game is 4x3 only, which I can't remember many Wii games doing. There's like Ella Deeds, Ella Bits, whatever. I mean, as we've already discussed, all Wii games technically are just using a 4x3 resolution. Their 16x9 modes are just anamorphic trickery. So it's apt that a Detective Conan game, out of all games, would be so committed to the truth as to not lie to us with pretend widescreen and just, you know, not bother. The core gameplay basically involves you going around the hotel, talking to every character you can, until you have enough circumstantial evidence to compile it all together. You have to associate the clues you've found with each other to back them all up, adding them together in the right order to form an argument in association with a hint Conan gives you. But since everything seems to back up something else a little bit, it's easy not to know sometimes what clue the game has asked you to provide, where, and in what order. It's easy to mix up the conclusive statement with the statements backing it up. I can imagine though these testimonial language style puzzles were pretty hard to localize though. You get to try as many times as you like, and I think the only thing that's affected is your rank at the end of chapters, and just like everywhere else, here, I'm the bomb as well. Once you have all the evidence, putting it together is no biggie. What's annoying is combing this place and talking to all these hotel guests and employees who look like they'd be very impressed with you if you told them you hated new music. This is also the dullest looking environment I can think of too. Just bland colors, straight lines, and square edges. It feels like the only assets rendered for this game are in the gift shop, full of refurbished dress shoes and 20 quid condoms. If the Conan theme on loop doesn't get to you during your hours of exploring, the door opening sound effects ran through pull stretch will. If not that, Conan's skateboard sounding like crumpling paper recorded on a razor phone. Oh, and these are some dull NPCs too. This game out here reminding me there's women over 15 who unironically call themselves princesses. When things get boring enough, I look at the live minimap and think, well, that would have been the entire game 30 years ago. Your suspects are all over the place. We have Keith, the hotel performer, and his two assistants feuding for his affection.
Keith and I, we weren't trying to.
Emily, I really hate you! You can just die for all I care, Emily!
Because nothing quite says ladies man like a guy trying his best to dress as a bad guy from Lazy Town. Also, you are so dead, lady. You don't survive a line like that an hour into a murder mystery. Does not matter if the person means it or not. We also have Al, stand up and assistant to Chase.
So, will the alibi I have stick? Or will it come unglued?
Who, judging from these jokes, seems like he's based off the guy who won the Detective Conan Be a Character sweepstakes. Yeah, okay, I'm kidding. But just imagine for a second that I, a really cool fan, had won such a thing. Hell, imagine that, I could have been this character. I am a god. Hurry up with my damn... Oh, Conan, didn't see you there. Just, singing my favorite song. Yeah, it's me, TGB. I know, a little hard to recognize me after my latest gym sesh. Hey, have you seen my 5 girlfriends anywhere? Oh, and then there's another suspicious character seen arguing with Chase. His last name is Ogre, and you're actually taking the time to write down his alibi? Alright, I better consider the innocence of Gregory Shiv and Aaron Assault. This guy's got a frickin' Jack X character name. Do you think he might be up to no good? Conan's buddy Harley shows up too. He's the rival character of the show, so we gotta cater to his fans here too, by having him pop up out of nowhere. He's the Gary Oak to Conan's Ash, if Ash and Gary had the same personality and design. I'm exaggerating a little bit, being a bit cheeky, being a bit of a cheekster tonight. Anyway, he's only of limited use in this particular game. Master Detective of the West, Harley Hartwell here, putting his great mind to use. This was the move Michael Jackson was working on before the government killed him. Even with these two masterminds handling things, another murder takes place, and this time the victim is Ogre. Easily the best part of this game is doing a nose manual into a murder scene. The murder takes place in some kind of wacky maze attraction, a magic chamber where only your footsteps create echoes.
What happened?
Think about every forgettable video game BGM you've heard like this one. Now look it up on YouTube and there's still probably an upload of the exact same song with someone calling it their jam. Once again, another murder triggers more clue collecting by talking to NPCs. This latest clue hunt throws you a bit of a unfair curveball. Usually information collection is relegated to main characters, but in this one case, you have to speak to Johnny No Name over here. By the way, I love how Conan's approach to finding out a passcode to a security room he needs to get into is going around and just asking people for it. Of course, you can't input an answer until you've received all possible answers, even the incorrect ones. Yeah, it's one of those kind of adventure puzzle games. Getting a few Glass Rose progression flashbacks, only at least that game had, its kind of artistic vision going on, and this is, well, this budget operation. Don't worry, they didn't make enough assets for you to trip over, you'll be fine. The murders seem to connect back to some kind of car crash that happened May 2nd of 95, 12 years ago. Ooh. This brings up the awkward time displacement the Detective Conan IP has to do, since the anime started airing in 96, but now when this game released, 95 was 12 years ago. We just have to reset the date every year, or Conan would have grown back to adult like 3 times over now. The producer of the anime in an interview said that only 250 days have passed since the start of Conan, which at a stretch might be enough to fit in the 96 volumes of the manga, but for the anime there's just no way. Even if we're generous and try to account for 2-parters and cut the amount of episodes down to like 450 rather than 900, that would still be nearly 2 crimes a day every day. Damn. Anyway, Murder 3 is one of Keith's magic assistants, and now things are getting weird because that murder doesn't seem to match up with the way more suspicious types that got murdered previously. This one gets pinned on,
You can just die!
and the other 2 murders point to Chase being the culprit, him wanting to shut up the suspicious victims on the day of his big opening. No doubt they had some dirt on him. Yep, Chase is going endgame on us, and man, I thought I was the only one who smirked with confidence after seeing a child held at knife point. This is our action segment for the day, by the way, folks. Yeah, soak it in. Oh yeah, get him, Conan. Tweening a can across the screen, still out of this game's budget, I guess. Now this is where we get our revelations. The first 2 victims were ex-associates of Chase's who were looking to move up the ranks in some company and needed a guy named Kurashige who was rising those ranks too fast out of the way. But Chase's buddies took things too far and killed the guy in a car crash, and his kids were separated from each other as a result. One of them becoming Chase's wife, I wonder why, and the other turning out to be Keith. Who, I mean, he's just clueless the whole game. He might as well not be here. So yeah, this is where Chase finally comes clean, and man, I've been dogging on this game, but they really pulled out all the stops for the confession scene, as any murder mystery should. The production values just skyrocket here. Not every game is capable of pulling this off.
In order to get rid of Kurashige, I recruited Ogre, who then worked in the accounting department, and Rayburn, a bar hostess I was familiar with. We created a false embezzlement scandal in which Kurashige was taking money from the company and using it to buy things for Rayburn. In fact, it was Ogre who was embezzling the money. He and Rayburn split 20 million yen. Kurashige then said he'd fight things in court. Ogre planned his murder and tampered with the brakes on his car. And as a result, Kurashige drove off a cliff.
What you do there, what you do there, what you do there? Kurashige, you took the G-way.
Was Kurashige's old friend, never went public with the embezzlement
I
scheme.
trusted you, now I'm in the Miraculous Hotel. And let me tell you, these hoes tell. I need a new sign, better re-sign. Birth certificate, switch, astrology, re-sign. Traffic light, spray paint, that's a re-sign. Hold down a finger from the piece, that's a re-sign.
So to wrap things up, turns out Chase's wife did the murders. The first two for revenge, and the second one to cover up the first two.
She pretended to tend to him and sprayed the poison in his mouth. She then thought that Emily saw that she did this.
I mean, maybe you get a bit of leeway for murdering the couple that orchestrated your dad's death, but that third one just marks you as scum no matter what.
There's only one thing I ever wished for. A happy family.
Yeah, no sympathy. Get her the hell out of here. Off to the Kaiji labor camps for you.
Forget everything you know about me. I don't want to forget you.
Guys, she's really going to jail. I think it's over.
Utako!
Anyway, on that uplifting note, we won the Miraculous Arcade competition! Oh! Woo! Go Team Conan! Case closed, the Miraculous investigation is a harmless enough piece of added fluff for the Detective Conan empire, but if anything, it just reinforces the fact that the bigger the IP you're using, the less effort you have to put into the product. I'm assuming Grasshopper, though, they might have to try a little bit to get a Blood Plus game flying off the shelves, while a game based on Japan's biggest show on the late 2000s biggest console could probably be made to make a turnover pretty quick with a little risk. It's really not worth playing any more than one of the filler episodes is worth watching. It's just those are 20 minutes and you can just sit there. That said, I definitely do have something for you today that is absolutely worth watching. Damn, if only I was enough of a real YouTube influencer to tell you all about it. Hold on a second, I think I have an idea actually. Oh, hey there gamers. You just caught me doing a few curls in between gaming sessions while wearing my official Taste Closed Heaven Ain't Hard to Find merch. It's just how it is, you know? Anyway, today's video was co-written by Soul Brother number 3, creator of the Taste Closed dub, the dub of Case Closed that's been taking YouTube by storm. And today he's got a treat for you, that's right, the feature-length Taste Closed Heaven Ain't Hard to Find dub is out now. Take a look at some of these clips from the feature in question.
God, he can't show the slightest bit of self-control.
Who can't? The fat guy went to McDonald's 4 times after the morning investigation.
So why should we care?
He got a heart attack on his 203rd McNugget.
And now we have to visit him in the hospital.
You couldn't stop at 50 like a normal person?
Well, he would have, but Dad here egged him on to go for the bicentennial.
So why didn't he stop at 200?
He found an extra 3 on the floor.
Huh?
Plus, one of today's games will suck so badly, it may kill you. You won't know which one unless you watch this episode.
Using scare tactics to make people watch the show.
Hey!
That's gonna turn you racist.
Oh, biting. Irreverent. Some might say. A little edgy. Now, the feature is out, but due to copyright issues, it may or may not be up on Soul Brothers' channel. If it is, you can get a link in the description. If it isn't, you can get a link to his Patreon down there that will let you watch it unimpeded. And let me tell you, it's well worth the small fee. You'll be telling all your friends about this one. Anyway, gamers, don't forget to check it out. Fuck!